Hello, welcome to The Source. It's not a question that came up, or maybe it did come up in the past, but just finishing up a class this week, we had done one of our regular precision rifle 1 and 2 classes, and before that we had actually done a club match down here to where I saw it again. But in my classes, whenever I start out in the morning, whenever it gets to that point in the lecture series, I say, how many of you guys have shot your rifle with the wrong adjustment on the optic? And I immediately raised my hand because obviously I've done it, and other people in the class, if they've shot long range, they've done it as well. Many times we forget to change our dope, and so pre-shot checklist is what you need to do. So first off, on the pre-shot checklist, I want to identify my target. I want to make absolutely certain that the target I'm shooting at is the one I'm supposed to shoot at. If I'm in a hunting scenario, I want to make sure I got both eyes open so I can see a bigger animal if it comes along. If I'm in a competition scenario, I want to make sure that, okay, my shooter number is 17, so I want to make sure I look up on the paper stage and say 17. Okay, yeah, that's my target. I want to identify my target first off. Then, range. Know what it is and do something about it. If, for example, I finished last night at 8 o'clock shooting at 100 yards, and I'm going to wake up this morning and I'm going to be right back at the 100-yard line, it does not give me license just to forget the pre-shot checklist, because the rifle, in and out of a bag, slung across my back, anything else, the knobs can turn. So I want to look up and I want to say, yes, 0-0. Me personally, knowing that I'm not that smart, what I'll do is I'll put my hands on it again, because half the time I can't find my sunglasses whenever they're in that position right there. So at any rate, I want to look at it and make sure it's 0-0. Then wind, know what it is, do something about it. Well, I've been shooting for a long time, and I stopped dialing wind decades ago. I always hold for wind, but it doesn't give me license just to ignore that knob. I want to look over at it, make sure it's 0-0, make sure that it didn't get turned in transport or in the truck or in a bag or on my back or anything like that. I want to make sure that that did not happen. And if it turns out that I've got a target that's at 400 yards, I'm shooting a regular 308, say range, know what it is, do something about it. So I'll reach up, I'll put 2 mils on the gun, and I'll do my wind as well. I know the wind's coming in from the right hand side, so I know I'm going to be holding into the wind. In other words, range, do something about it. Then simply follow the fundamentals of marksmanship. Now, locking turrets on scopes work awesome right up until that point that they don't. So that's why you should still check it every single time. I've seen a supposed locking turret come off and turn around. I've seen the screws come loose on it, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of making sure that your rifle is ready to go. So again, identify your target, then range, know what it is, do something about it. Wind, know what it is, do something about it. Then simply follow the fundamentals of marksmanship, being natural point of aim, sight picture, breathing, trigger control, and follow through. As we move through this, people say, well, what I want to do is I've got this fancy holdover reticle. There's a lot of fancy holdover reticles out there right now. Vortex has some, Horus has some, the G2, all really, really good. So it becomes one of those things to where, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero my gun at 100, and then I'm just going to duct tape over those things. That's fine, you can do that, and your gun will stay zeroed at 100, but that still doesn't give you license to let the pre-shot checklist go. Because how many times have you seen somebody using a holdover reticle and they're supposed to be holding 5 mils and they actually hold 6, or they're supposed to be holding 5 and they actually hold 4? Up there on the tower watching shooters shoot, I've seen it happen hundreds and hundreds of times. So the holdover reticle doesn't solve that problem for you. You still have to do the work on making sure that you're following that pre-shot checklist. Again, I've seen it happen during training, out here during classes, I've seen it happen during competitions, and pretty much if somebody's out here and we're shooting long range, it's going to happen at some point. Usually it just happens once, and then they figure it out, hey, I better go and follow this pre-shot checklist stuff, because it's a shot that you missed for no reason. It's terrible whenever you got the wrong dope on your gun and the wind comes out exactly perfect. Like you shot the wind absolutely perfect, but wrong line, wrong dope on the gun, whatever the case may be. Associate a range with an adjustment, whether you're going to be dialing it or if you're going to be holding it. And again, post-shot checklist, just reverse the order. You're already done, okay? Make sure that you bring your knobs all the way back to 0. Bolt comes back, magazine comes off, run the bolt, look in it, get somebody else to look in it too, because we look and we don't see. That keeps us from having a big uh-oh out on the range. And then move on down the road. Your base should always be at 100 yards. If it turns out that you're doing this for a living, or you're out in the hunting blind and it's dark, you're using night vision up front, whatever the case may be, you don't want to break that night discipline by turning on a light to adjust your scope. But if it's at 0 all the time, then I can get the range. All right, I can count up 20 clicks. so that I can get that 400-yard shot. I don't have to turn on a light. But if I haven't done a post-shot checklist from when I was shooting during the day, I might already have 20 on there. Then the next thing you know, I've got 40 clicks on 4 mils rather than the 2 mils like I wanted. So again, follow the pre-shot and follow the post-shot.